What if you could take the hardest, most boring subject you've ever had to study and turn it into a personal quest? Today, we're going to break down a really unique system that does exactly that, transforming these dense academic topics into a universe that's all your own. All right, let's jump right in. I'm about to show you two columns of scientific terms. All you have to do is figure out which one is real and which one is, well, completely made up. Think you can tell the difference? So on the left, you've got your standard organic chemistry. Acid versus base, pKa, chair flips, the stuff of nightmares for some of us. Then on the right, you see limbic alchemy, with terms like nodal donors versus nodal seekers and dual shell oscillation shift. So what do you think? The truth is, it's a trick question. They're both describing real science. The left is the language from your textbook. The right, that's a parallel language for the exact same concepts. And that is what this is all about. Okay, so where on earth does a term like limbic alchemy even come from? It's not just random. It's actually part of a super detailed and thought-out fictional universe called the OX Continuum. Let's dig into how it was built. The entire foundation of this place, its physics, its rules, everything, it all rests on this one single principle. Where there is world line, there must be flow. Now, that sounds cool, but it's not just a tagline. In this world, it's a law of nature. It's the core operational constant for everything. And this core principle has a name: flow physics. The easiest way to think about it is like a universal conservation law, but instead of just energy, it's constantly balancing energy, information, and structure. Every single action creates a ripple that affects not just movement, but data and form too. It is the absolute backbone of the entire OX universe. And man, this world is deep. I mean, it's got its own internal logic with concepts like code and anti-code, a government that's literally structured like a living organism, even a kind of hybrid internet nervous system. The point here isn't to memorize the jargon, but to see that this isn't just some backdrop for a story. It's a complete interlocking system of thought. So you might be wondering, why build a fictional universe with this much insane detail? Well, here's the genius part. It wasn't just built for telling stories. It's designed to be a mirror, one that reflects and completely transforms real-world academic subjects. And this is done through something the system calls the study engine layer. You can think of it as a framework or a kind of translator that takes real academic subjects and morphs them into the language and logic of the OX universe. This is how the absolute chore of studying becomes an act of creation. It becomes world building. Okay, let's bring this all back to the beginning. Remember those weird terms? Check this out. The real-world chemistry concept of pK, which just measures acid strength, gets translated into the somatic dissociation threshold. Resonance? That becomes shared oscillation patterns. And those awful chair flips from organic chemistry, now they're called dual shell oscillation shifts. See? You are learning the exact same 100% real organic chemistry, but you're experiencing it like you're a scientist discovering the fundamental laws of a brand new universe. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This is incredible, but it must take an actual lifetime to create all this custom study material, right? Well, this is where modern tech, specifically AI, makes this whole thing not just possible, but practical. This entire learning ecosystem, we're talking lecture notes, homework, quizzes, the whole shebang, it's all generated by one single, incredibly detailed, and highly structured prompt. This isn't just about asking an AI a question. This is about giving it a complete blueprint, a clean, modular set of instructions for building a learning experience one step at a time. And that master prompt has a very specific architecture. It's built progression node by progression node. First, there's the request, which clearly states the goal. Then you have the structure, which defines every single output you need, from the lecture notes to the final exam. And maybe most importantly, the rules, which create a strict firewall between the fictional story and the real chemistry, making sure the science underneath it all stays completely accurate. So what's the big takeaway from all this? I mean, this whole project is way more than just one person's really creative way to get through organic chemistry. It kind of points toward a whole new way of learning, one that could solve a problem we've all faced. You know the feeling, right? You're staring at a textbook, your eyes are glazing over, and you're just trying to force-feed information into your brain that feels totally abstract and disconnected from your actual life. What if we could just change that? What if learning felt like an adventure instead?
A personal mission, where every new formula you learn, every new concept you finally get, adds another layer to a world that you are actively building and bringing to life yourself.
Ultimately, what this whole system provides is a blueprint. It's a way to build your very own personal operating system for learning, one that lets you fuse what you're passionate about directly with the subjects you have to master. It reframes the whole act of learning as an act of creation. So the final question here really isn't about the specific system, it's for you. If you could build an entire universe around any subject and turn studying into your own personal quest, what subject would you choose to transform?